Words Academy. This is Cycle 3, Week 18. So we started with geography today. We're doing rivers, Western rivers, and I think it's kind of hard for the kids to figure out where the rivers start and where they end. And so I color-coded the rivers. I did this last week and I think it helped. So I'll show you my board. And I just made all the rivers a different color. Of course, I chose red for the Red River. And I think it just helps them see where the different rivers are. And so this time I had them color code their maps the same way that I had it on the board. So we did that, and I found a song on CC Connected. It was missing the Columbia River, and so I just added it in towards the end after Great Salt Lake. And so it worked out fine for me to just add that into the song, and we just sang through the song, and we pointed out the different rivers. So for timeline, I tried something new this week that I'd never done before. I had the kids line up facing me, and we were kind of working more on the motions. A lot of times I use the cards to review timeline, and then we don't focus on the motions as much. So this week I just wanted to focus more on the motions. And so I had a kid facing me, and we just started off by doing the first motion together. So we did like Cherokee, Trail of Tears, and the kid, had to do it back to me. And then I went like that, and they went to the back of the line, and then the next kid did the next event and motions with me, and then he went to the back of the line, and we just kept going through. And because we have 8 kids in our class in 7 cards, then it worked out well because you were doing a different motion each time through. So that was fun, and the kids were anticipating their turn, and so that worked out pretty well. For math, we were doing the area of a triangle. Last week we did the masking tape on the floor, so I wanted to switch it up a little bit, do something different. And so we have a lot of magnetiles at home, and we have a lot of triangle magnetiles at home. So I just gave each kid a big stack of magnetiles, and I had them just kind of make a creation out of their magnetiles while we sang through a song that I found on CC Connected. It was to the tune of Spoonful of Sugar. So they liked that a lot. Of course, they wanted more time with the magnetiles, but it is a quick song, so we went through it several times, more than 7, so that they could have a little extra time playing. After math, we did history. We had a lot of fun with this one. So my son got this little kind of dartboard, I guess you could say, but they use these little balls, sticky balls, instead of darts. So I kind of repurposed this to use for history this week. So I had this piece of felt, and I just cut it out in the shape of Oahu. And then I put a star on Pearl Harbor. And had I had a bigger piece of felt, I would have covered the whole board, but this is the biggest piece I had, so I went with it. And I had the kids just try to throw the bombs at Pearl Harbor. So I felt kind of weird telling the kids to bomb Pearl Harbor, but it was fun, and they enjoyed it, and it did kind of reinforce, what the sentence was about. So I'm going to try it, see if I can do it. Oh, I was so close. I pretty much got it right. Yeah, it's on there. And I did have this taped down so that it didn't fall off. So that's what we did for history, and of course the kids loved it. We just worked in pairs, and I gave them, I think, 4 balls apiece, and they just tried to hit Pearl Harbor while we sang through the song. For English, we were doing predicate. Last week we had a song for the sentence part subject, and this week it's the same song, so it covers subject and predicate. So that was kind of nice because they didn't have to learn a new tune or anything. It was the same song. And we just did shakers this time. I just passed out the shakers. The song had a good beat, and so we would have done follow the leader if we'd had more time, but we were running low on time like we normally are. So I just had them follow my lead. So I kind of shook it high, shook it low, shook it to the side, and they kind of just repeated what I did while we sang the song. For Latin, we're continuing John 1 passage, and we're doing the song by King Things. and I just do ASL hand signs for the different words in the verse, and we just do that, in Latin and English. So I'll go ahead and show you the hand motions that we did. We did light last week, but you just do kind of like an O hand shape and you bring it down, light. For shine, you get your middle fingers and you kind of bend them and you pull your hands up and out. So it's like something's reflecting off the ground, like the sun's reflecting. And then for darkness, there's a few different hand signs you can do for darkness, but this is the one I chose. Just do this, kind of cover your face, come together and pull down. So darkness. So I will go ahead and sing this in Latin and English, and I will do the hand motions as we go through it. Et lux in tenebris lucet, and the light shineth in the darkness. So again, the Latin and English is a little bit different in the way it is, laid out. And so you just have to pay attention and make sure that you're doing the right hand motions for the different words. For science, we're finishing up our elements, which we're pretty excited about. The kids kind of had a hard time learning the different elements, the different numbers and letters, and all of that was a lot to memorize. So they were excited that it was the last week of elements. We're doing the song to the tune of Shake It Off, and this week I just I kind of write the elements on the board like how it looks on the periodic table, and so I just had a pointer and I had the kids point to the different elements as we sang through the song, so they just took turns doing that. So that finishes up new grammar. Moving on to hands-on science. This is our last week of probability because we switched probability in the science experiments at the end. So we were doing the Bigfoot sightings, and this week went the most smoothly of all the other weeks. I don't know if it was easier or if the kids are just like getting the hang of the probability thing, and me too as a tutor, but it went really smoothly. We had a lot of fun with Bigfoot, and we spent some time at the beginning just talking about like who Bigfoot is and if he's real or not, so that was kind of fun. And then I gave the kids all the data from the book, and so that they had a copy in front of them, and we asked which state has the most sightings for Bigfoot, and we wrote that down. Which state has the least amount of sightings for Bigfoot, and we wrote that down. And we talked about, we live in Illinois, so we talked about how many Illinois had. And then we used just the Northeast, and we did a bar graph for the different sightings in the Northeast. So we did 6 states in the Northeast, and we just made a bar graph of the data, and then we did a line chart of the data. And then after that, we talked about which graph they thought was better for this data, and most of them thought the bar graph was easier to kind of see the data. And then we calculated the median, mode, and mean for this particular data. Just for those, we actually eliminated 1 state, so it was just 5 states because it's easier to find the median when you're just working with 5 states. So we did that, and that's all we did for our hands-on science. And then for fine arts, we are finishing our great artist study with Roy Lichtenstein, and we talked about how he did a lot of illustrations, based on comic strips, and even used gum wrappers for inspiration. And I showed a lot of examples of his work. We talked about how a lot of his work were made up of tiny little dots, and we talked about pointillism and what that is. And then for our project, our director made these really cool names for each kid. So she wrote it like kind of in a talk bubble, or like the pow, bang, bam, pop, those kind of illustrations that Roy Lichtenstein does. She made one for the kids with their name on it. And then we got Q-tips, and we just had them, she used like primary colors because those are pretty common in his work. And we just got Q-tips, and we had the kids dot their name and the background if they wanted to. So a lot of them got kind of tired with all the little dots, but I think they thought the finished product was really cool. So that was a fun last project for fine arts. And then for review this week, since it's close to Valentine's Day, I wanted to do something fun for the kids. And we did like a punch, I think it's called, I don't know, a punch card or a punch poster. I don't know what the technical name is for it. It was the first time that I'd made one, but you just get like a big poster board and you put cups. I hot glued the cups down, like red Solo cups, and then you put a piece of tissue paper over top of it, and I just hot glued that onto, I think you can use a rubber band, but I didn't have any, so and I just put a prize in each of the cups. I found like super cheap little prizes for Valentine's Day. And I wrote on the top of the cup, like on the tissue paper, I wrote like G17 for Geography 17, and it was all mixed up. And so they chose their cup and they had to answer the questions first, and then they got to punch through the cup and get out their prize. So, of course, the kids loved it. It was in the shape of a heart for Valentine's Day, and they each all got 3 prizes. So it was a really fun way to end our 6 weeks. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you all have a great week.